Hello and welcome back to this wrap-up. Now, I do want to mention that I read, hopefully, by the time the month's over, 31 books. At this particular moment, which is July 30th, we're at 27. I have several other books I'll be finishing this, such as Watchmen and You Are Not Alone and With the Fire on High, so 27, 28, 29, 30, and then we'll pick up a short book and we'll call it a day. So, no problems there. I'm sure I can hit that number. By tomorrow. Yeah, I'm sure. It's fine. Tomorrow is a Friday. Tomorrow I work for 8 hours. We're gonna get some audiobook listening. I'll do some things. It's fine. But we do have a lot of books to talk about. 27 is not a small number. It ranges between a whole bunch of different ranges. We have no ratings to 1 stars, to 3 stars, to 4 stars, to 2 stars, to 5 stars, to DNFs. We're all across the board. No one's shocked about it. I think I'll put the final page count, if I have it, or the page count that I have so far. It's like 6,000 something odd pages I read this month. This month was a great reading month, coming off of a horrible reading month. So overall, we're just really enjoying ourselves. But let's start with the first book, and they're going to jump back and forth between me having a physical copy of the book to having on the screen, so just jump across, just to let you guys know. First book we're going to talk about is Pistol Daisy by Natalia Lee. I actually do own a copy of this. It's on my Kindle, but we're not going to worry about it. Pistol Daisy follows Pistol Daisy, and she is in the Western. It's in the 1880s, and she goes on this revenge trip to catch her parents' murderer. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars because I just thought it was a little too short and I didn't really get to know the character very well, and the side characters very well either. It kept me very intrigued, and I'll definitely move on. I do highly recommend, and I do think it does capture that country feeling quite nicely. So let's move on to the second one, which is The Guest List by Lucy Fowle. Now, The Guest List, you might be asking yourself, well, Jacob, what'd you rate this? 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah, this was horrible. And honestly, it really put me in a bad mood towards thrillers. I read a whole bunch of them, so don't worry. Some of them are so amazing. Ha! I read 3 books that are like my favorites of the year. It's a crazy life. This was not one of them. Actually, this was probably my most disappointing read I've read so far, and that's because honestly, the book itself tells you it's going to be like a murder mystery. It's a whodunit. And I was kind of thinking. Then there were none, and so people kept dying. That's not what this book is about. It's much more of a dramedy with a tad bit of mystery thrown in there, and that's all you really need to know. It's a dramedy. Get ready for the drama. I do have to say some of these twists really did shock me, and but it was not enough to save the book. It was enough to give it 2 stars, but not enough to give it anything higher. And I did dock a whole star because of the fact I felt like I was so cheated. Okay, so I do want to mention we read 18 and 19, I think, this month for tonight for Magic Treehouse. I don't have anything to say about this. These are great. I'm enjoying them. We're reading them. We're going to move on. So I'm not going to pull it up again. We're going to actually skip over it when it pops up again. But yeah. Ironically, this is the weakest month for my little sister in her reading. She did all reading outside of us reading, but I was just so preoccupied with so many different things going on that I didn't prioritize it. And so this month coming up, August, we're prioritizing reading with my little sister like every night. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun time. Oh my god. Okay. Heartstoppers, Volume 1 by Alice Oseman. Oh, Alice Oseman, I cannot wait to read everything you write. This was a 5 out of 5 stars. This is a coming-to-age romance between 2 guys who, the one guy definitely knows that what he likes, what he wants. He's out, he's not, he's shy. This guy right here doesn't really know what he wants, but he's trying to figure it out, and it's a blossoming romance over, of course, beautiful, beautiful artwork to beautiful pages, and it's just gorgeous, and I loved every minute of it. I didn't want it to end, and I will be picking up Heartstoppers Volume 2 and 3. Don't you worry, it's happening. Don't you worry. Then we have The Merciless, number 1 by Danielle Bacon. I've gone back and forth if I'm going to continue on with this series or not. The Merciless follows, what is her name, Sophia? No. Brooke? No, no. Yes. Sophia, where she joins a group of friends and they end up torturing a girl to get, like, it's like a seance. No, like, not a seance. Not possession. An exorcism, but with torture. And I found the ending to be so fucking fascinating. Like, so fascinating. So I did get 3 out of 5 stars because the ending was just, it was just that good. But ultimately, I didn't see what everybody else saw in it. I still think I might pick up parts of the rest of the series. We'll have to wait and see. I do want to thank Katie Weismer for, I did buy the copy, but thank you for allowing me to buy the copy and things. And it didn't go as far as I was really hoping for. The nail scene, if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about, was disturbing, but it just wasn't as disturbing. And then, of course, the final twist, which is extremely shocking, kind of makes the whole thing pointless. Then I read Copyland by Elizabeth Avocedo. This is hopefully am finishing Elizabeth Avocedo this month. Her books are just phenomenal. I just want to read every one of them. So Copyland is about 2 sisters who are born from the same dad, but they have no idea they exist. Their dad ends up dying, and they end up forming a connection. This is a 5 out of beautiful stars. It's everything. It's a beautiful story, and it did make me cry. The ending made me cry. There's other parts of it that were just so beautiful, but there's also parts of it that I didn't really like, but I understood, and from a creative standpoint, it was just so well done that we're dealing, we're living with it. It's so good. Okay. Ironically, Home Before Dark is not on my list. I gotta figure out what happened to that. By Riley Sagar. This is my last Riley Sagar that I had to read. That video will be coming out this week coming up as well. But Home Before Dark, I gave it 3.75 stars. And I personally just really, really didn't like the final third. I thought there was so much good here. So much good here. But I also thought there was so much bad here. So this is about a family that ends up owning a home, and something horrible happens over the course of 2 weeks. Our main character's dad writes a book about it. Maggie's dad writes a book about it called The House of Horrors, and it becomes super duper popular, and Maggie ends up going back to that same exact house. Like I said, I thought it was average. Sorry, this wrap-up sucks. So we have The Phantom Twin, which I gave 2 out of 5 stars, as well as a Siamese twin in Siamese twins in the carnival. One of her sisters dies, and some shenanigans happens. I really hated it. Truly. Honestly. It should probably be 1 star. Nothing good came out of it. Then we have Becoming You, Volume 1, which is about 2 boys who form a band, and honestly, it wasn't a gay romance. And that's it. That's this. I think the music part was really interesting. I think the characters were fine. But once again, graphic novels have just been really disappointing for me. Overall, this is just going to be like a huge theme throughout this whole entire wrap-up. And so, yeah, did not like it. And I think it was because I had higher expectations for it. And I would love to know you guys if you guys have read it. Your opinions down below for any of these books, obviously. Then I did a reread because I finished Gilmore Girls this month, which I totally forgot about. And there's Lauren Graham's From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and everything in between, Talking as Fast as I Can. Or it's this and then that. I'm not really sure. And this is following Laura Graham's whole entire life up to the point of where she goes and shoots Gilmore Girls again. And it follows that and the book ends. And it's beautiful and it's everything. And I just love it so much. And I read it in one sitting. And I highly, highly recommend this book if you love Lauren Graham. You'll love it, I promise. Okay, and then we have Forever Interrupted, which is my last Taylor Jenkins read. So this video will be coming out relatively soon as well. I'm not entirely sure when we'll get a Taylor Jenkins read wrap up, but it'll be this month. And we're going to be reviewing all 7 books. And I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people about reviewing all 7 books, by the way. So we have Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I gave this a 3.5 stars. This follows... What is this one? Average 20-something. Oh! This is right. This is about the girl who her husband ends up dying, and she ends up forming a bond with his mom, his mother, and they end up being married for a very short amount of time. It was okay. There's a lot of things here that I really did enjoy, which we'll talk about more in that wrap-up, and I don't want to very much hold myself to it here, talk about a lot here, but there's also a lot here that I didn't really enjoy. I don't know. I had such a mixed bag with Tara Jenkins Reid backlog that like Forever Interrupted is interesting. It's her debut novel, and it's a very strong debut, so she did have that going for her. I also read my own poetry collection, The Therapy Session. Self-explanatory. I didn't rate it because, like, yeah, I actually really like my poems. Spoiler. Alright, then we read The Deep. Now, The Deep, I really don't even know how to describe to you since I've been told I've been describing it wrong. I read it, and I don't even know how to describe it to you. It's about mermaids. You should read it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Sure, a whole stars concept purposes alone, but I did learn a lot. So, pick it up. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say here. It was beautiful. It was heartbreaking. I cried. It hurt me. It was enjoyable. I got called out for reading it too fast. It was a fun time. That's it. That's all I have for you. I'm very sorry. Then I read oh my gosh. Save the Cat Writes a Novel. Yeah, let's get real here. Did I read the whole Save the Cat Writes a Novel? No. But I read everything I needed from Save the Cat, so I wasn't going to read the other parts. So yeah, I completed it. Didn't rate it. If you're writing a book, I actually would recommend. I think it's something interesting and you should probably check out if you're writing a book. But it's up to you. I read Ken and I DNF'd it at 50%. I read this because it was Kat's most disappointing book of the year. And yeah, it was shit. This is supposed to be like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I just really wish it was either like a carbon copy of Texas Chainsaw Massacre or anything else than what I received. It was really weird. It was very objectifying, very sexualized, and the actual murdering thing didn't take place on the screen or on page, which I also find to be extremely disappointing. So, there's that. Alright, then I read Night of the Living Dead Pool, which I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. The concept here is phenomenal. The ending is great, but overall, it was just an okay comic. A lot of things here, really, really cool, but also a lot of things here that were, like, just fine. They weren't horrible, but they weren't great. So, it was an average of a 3. I read Burn All of Our Bodies Down by Roy Power, which is about this girl who ends up, she owes her mom. Her mom's very secretive. She ends up going back to her hometown without her mom knowing, and she learns about all these different things. Some of that stuff partaking in a cornfield. This is Roy Power's second novel. I actually read a lot of sophomore novels. I'm trying to stay up to date with, all these people that I really like. They're like beginner novels, continuing on. And I get to say 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked everything except for, like, I'd probably say the last third once again. Horror novels are very hard to achieve. Also, I didn't think it was weird enough. I think this was a much more traditional thriller, but not in every great sense of the word. I wanted some more flair. I wanted something more from it just because of how rare Wilder Girls is. And so I would say it was a disappointment in that regard. Then I read The Old Guard Book 1 Opening Fire. Me and my brother also reacted to the movie The Old Guard, so if you guys want to check that out, I'm going to link that down below. But with The Old Guard Book 1, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Actually, in this case, I think the movie's better. This is about people who live forever. They're immortal, and they never die until they do. That's it. It's a graphic novel. I just watch the movie. Or if you want to read the book, you can read the book. It's fine. It's up to you. Then I read Little Woman, the official movie companion. Once again, this is another book that I didn't read word for word. I did skim most of it, but it was very fascinating. And if you love Little Woman, I always recommend companion novels, or the official companions to the books. I was really happy I could get it from the library, and overall, I found it to be very fascinating, especially if there's anything in it you didn't really like, that you didn't like the changes or whatever. I promise you, this is something you need to pick up, because they describe it in such great details, and yeah. Which is hilarious, because I love the movie, but I absolutely hate the book. It's controversial, I know. And then I reread Sweetest Kind of Poison for like the 9th time during the reading rush, and this was a 5-0, no shocking stars. Oh, this is about a very, very traumatic romance between, well actually, I'm pretty sure this is very personal, and it's about going through that romance and coming out on the other side. And then I got an arc, and I have a whole Goodreads review down below. Now I'll have a whole review up on my channel. I think it's a discussion video, basically. Lots of reviews. We'll see. It's this month. We'll have a review for Poems in the World, and then we're gonna have another spoilery discussion type video come out on October 1st for the premiere, for its release date. This is Kay Weismer's sophomore poetry collection, which does follow somewhat of, I would say, their companion novels for The Sweet Sky and Poison. This was everything. It was so much more mature, so much more raw, and I felt like I learned so much more, and it really did make me want to hug Kay Weismer. That would be weird because I don't know her, but you know what I mean? Like, that's the type of book it was. And this was a 5 out of 5 stars. One of my favorite books of the year. It's the first one that we're going to talk about. That's one of my favorite books. Then I tried testing my limits into sci-fi, and that was a failure. And that is Machines Like Me, which I DNF at 50%. And personally, I would say the biggest problem here is the characters, as they were not fascinating and they were kind of annoying. Also, ironically, 2 books I read side by side were doing the same exact thing, where they were over-explaining everything. And yet this book, it seemed like nothing I need to know. Whereas the other book was really fascinating. I don't really understand. But I didn't like it. I hated it, actually. So it's DNF'd at 50%. I only DNF'd 2 books this month, which I find to be spectacular. So don't judge me. Okay. I also want to say DNFing is not wrong, and you should totally take pride in it, because there's too many books in the world for you to be sleeping on, for you to push yourself through a shitty one. My personal opinion, but it's true. Then I read I'm Thinking of Ending Things because of Cat. Okay, let's get real here. All these books were chosen because of Cat. I don't even know how to describe this. So Ian Reid is a very talented author. It's author. Yep, that's that word. Very talented in so many ways. And this book is about a boyfriend and girlfriend who are going on a road trip to his parents' farm, and that's all you need to know. Just know it's supposed to be extremely terrifying. I didn't find it that terrifying, but maybe you will, and you know what? You have that going for you. I really did like it, though. I very much enjoyed myself while reading it the whole time. It's a 5 out of 5 stars. I think the ending is so fascinating, and this is a book you would go through, and you would take your highlighter, and you would dissect it so much that every line is probably worth 1,000 words. Which is great, up until like the last 30 pages. Then it becomes much more of a normal thriller, but like it was so good that like it deserved a 5 stars. It deserves to be on my favorite books of the year. You know what I mean? It's just like one of those. Yeah, that's it. That's that. Then I read Shadow of the Batgirl by Sarah Kahn and Nicole Knox, and I didn't like this very much. I gotta say 3 out of 5 stars. Once again, there's nothing wrong with it. It was just really average. I was expecting more. I like the library setting. I like seeing Barbara Gordon as Oracle, or becoming Oracle again. I like seeing Cassandra Cain becoming Batgirl. I like to see her struggle. But once again, I just wish there was more to it. Yeah. Moving on, we also have Barbie #1 Fashion Superstar, which I did read with my little sister. I didn't write this. I love Barbie to death. If you know me, you know how much I love Barbie. And so I do recommend, if you have a younger sister or a younger brother who is very much into Barbie, I think they'll enjoy it if they like the character. And we will be continuing on reading the other ones as well, since it's like book 1. Then I read He Started It by Samantha Downing yesterday, all day. I don't know how to describe the type of feeling and how much you need to pick up this book. How much you need to pick up this book. Need. Did I say need? Because you need. He Started It is the MVP of the month. One of the MVPs of the month. We have 3. We do have 3. Because I don't want to take away from the greatness of my other 5 stars. Poems in the World is like one of my favorite books of all time now. We have I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is definitely going to sit with me for a long time. Then He Started It is a very basic thriller, and I'm not going to lie to you, it is extremely basic, but it's done so beautifully, so crafted, so marvelously, and you care for the characters even though you're not supposed to, and you just want to know what happens, and it's just so beautifully well done that you have to continue reading to the last page, and then your mind is blown, and then you're somewhat dissatisfied, but you're okay with it, and it's just so much mixed emotions, and it's everything, and the reason why I'm talking about it so vigorously, because I just read it. Most of these books I read throughout the month, some of these at the beginning of August, and I read so many books. Do not, yeah. This was obviously a 5 out of 5 stars. And I was speechless. My mouth was dropped on the floor, and I was like, what the fuck? Because it was great. I loved My Lovely Life. I think I gave it a 4 star. I don't want to lie to you, so just very quickly. I very much enjoyed My Lovely Wife. Yeah, it's a 4 star. The ending was horrible, and that's the only reason why it wasn't a 5 star perfect read for me. He started it was perfect. It was perfect from from the first little bit I listened to it to the very end, and I wanted to continue listening to it, and it was never a question. And it was so good, it was so beautiful, and I cannot recommend it more. I am speechless how amazing it was. Then I also read Violet Bent Backwards Over the Grass by Lana Del Rey. This came out on Tuesday. My sister really wanted it, and I was like, it's only like 40 minutes. I'll listen to it too. And there's a few poems here that are just so spectacular. I did give it 5 out of 5 stars because I don't think it needs anything else. I think it deserves it. It's not a favorite. It's not going to go down in my favorites. It might be like in the bottoms of my favorites this year. But it was really well done, and I do recommend it, especially if you like Lana Del Rey. I learned so much, unless it's based on a character. I'm not really sure, but it was written over like 18 months or something like that. It's beautiful, and I do recommend. So technically that's where this ends. How many books did you read? I've never read 31 books, by the way, in a month before. This is the most I've ever read, even if it is just like 29. It's still the most books I've ever read. I'll put my stats from Goodreads up on the screen so you guys can see. Normally, January and December are my best months. December is the month where I'm trying to catch up on my Goodreads goal. January is the month where I'm trying to get ahead on my Goodreads goal. And so they're always my best months, and then we have a few months staggered throughout the years. But my page count was the highest. My work, in general, July was a great month. For every single thing I was doing, I loved it all. I would say the only thing that lacked was YouTube content, but I was doing a lot. So, this month, I want to take a little step back from reading a little bit. I will have my TBR video going out tomorrow, at least that's the plan, and it's still huge. It's like 2 stacks big, but in my defense, I don't actually plan on picking up all those books. I just want a lot to choose from, and some of those are very oriented towards certain videos that are coming out in August to September, so yeah. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a big fat thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below, hit subscribe button. I'll see you all next time for another beautiful video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.